Hey everyone, welcome back to The Dang Good Show. I'm your host, Christine Dang, or as many of you know me, C. Dang. Today we're diving into a topic I think we can all relate to, misunderstandings. Specifically, how a shift in perspective can help us resolve these tricky situations. If you ever had one of those moments where a simple comment or action was completely misinterpreted, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And let's be real, misunderstandings are everywhere. It happens between friends, partners, colleagues, and even strangers. I've noticed that what one person says with good intentions can come across as a totally different way to someone else. I've seen firsthand how perspective plays a massive role in shaping our experiences, emotions, and interactions with others. Today, we're unpacking that. And of course, I'll share some personal stories along the way. So let me start with a story from my own experience. A few years back, many years ago, I was in a situation where two of my old colleagues were having a fallout. And somehow I ended up in the middle, hearing both sides. Here's where it gets interesting. One of them had this really positive outlook on life. Let's call him Sam. The other, Dennis, who was more skeptical and tended to see the worst in situations. They had a misunderstanding over something so small, a quick email exchange where one person felt dismissed and the other thought it was a casual response. To Sam, it was just, hey, let's handle it this way, no big deal. But to Dennis, the same message sounded condescending and dismissive. The kicker? Both thought the other was being rude on purpose. It was fascinating to witness how their different worldviews shaped how they interpreted that one exchange. If I had been in Dennis's shoes, maybe I would have seen the same frustration. But in Sam's position, it was just another day, no malice intended. This whole situation made me realize something. I can say or do something with good intentions, but the person on the receiving end might hear something completely different. And that's not necessarily anyone's fault. It's just a matter of perspective. Here's the thing. Perspective is everything. It influences how we interpret words, actions, and even silence. Often, misunderstandings don't arise from what's said or done, but from how it's perceived. And that perception is shaped by each person's experiences, emotions, and mental state. This is why two people can walk away from the same conversation with completely different takeaways. Navigating situations like these takes practice, patience, and a willingness to see things from another point of view. A small shift in perspective can be the difference between frustration and resolution. The question is, how do we get there? Enjoying what you're hearing? Fantastic. To make sure you're always in the loop with the latest episode, just hit that subscribe button. Your support makes all the difference. And hey, this podcast thrives because of awesome listeners like you. So a big shout out for that. And of course, I'm on Instagram. Find and follow me at Christine_Dang. Lastly, looking for more information on what we discussed today? Just cruise on over to thedangoodshow.com. Click on the episode you're curious about and voila, access to the show notes. Now, without further ado, let's jump back into the show. Let's talk about personality types and how they shape the way we communicate. Understanding these can help us better navigate misunderstandings. There are a few personality types you might encounter. Number 1, the optimist. This person sees the glass half full. Like Sam in my story, they tend to assume good intentions and are more forgiving of mistakes. Optimists often try to keep things light and positive, which can be great, unless the person on the receiving end takes it the wrong way. For example, they might say, "Let's not worry about it too much," with the intention of easing the tension. But to someone feeling overwhelmed, it might come off as dismissive. Number 2, the pessimists. On the flip side, the pessimists tend to focus on potential problems or what could go wrong. They might misinterpret neutral comments as negative because they expect the worst. This is Dennis in my story. Quick to take offense, even when none was intended. For example, if someone casually says, "Don't worry, I've got it," the pessimist might think, "They don't trust me to handle it." Number 3, the people pleaser. People pleasers struggle with saying no and often overextend themselves to avoid disappointing others. Because they're so focused on pleasing others, they might read too much into what people say and feel hurt easily. For example, if someone doesn't reply to a text right away, they might think, "Did I do something wrong?" Even when the other person was just busy. Number 4, the straight talker. This person is direct and to the point. And while their intentions is to be clear and efficient, their bluntness can sometimes come off as harsh or uncaring. For example, "Just get it done" might sound efficient to them, but could feel cold or demanding to someone else. By understanding these different personality types, we can adjust how we communicate to better match the other person's style. This helps reduce misunderstandings and builds stronger connections. So, how can we apply this in real life? Good thing I ain't gonna leave y'all hanging. So here are some practical tips that I've learned to apply with my life for navigating misunderstandings and shifting perspectives. Number 1, pause and reflect. When you feel misunderstood, pause before reacting. Take a moment to reflect on what the other person might have meant. Ask yourself, is there another way to interpret this? Number 2, ask clarifying questions. Instead of making assumptions, ask questions to better understand the other person's intention. Something as simple as, "What did you mean by that?" can clear a lot up. Number 3, practice empathy. Try to see the situation from the other person's perspective. What might they be feeling? What experiences could be shaping their reaction? Number 4, use I statements. When expressing your feelings, use I statements instead of you statements. For example, "I felt hurt when you said that," instead of "You hurt me when you said this." This reduces defensiveness and encourages open dialogue. Number 5, acknowledge your bias. Recognizing that your perspective is shaped by your experiences and emotions, just like everyone else's. Be open to the idea that you might not have the full picture. Here's something I've learned through my own experiences. Every time I've gone through a tough situation, I've come out of it with a new perspective. My trip to Korea was a perfect example. I was terrified at first by being in a new city, not knowing the language, and having to navigate everything on my own. But once I embraced the experience with curiosity, my fear transformed into excitement. That shift in perspective was life-changing for me. The same applies to misunderstandings. When we shift our perspective, we open ourselves up to new ways of thinking and connecting with others. We stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunity for growth. All right, friends. That's a wrap on today's episode about the power of perspective. I hope this episode has given you some tools and insights to help you navigate misunderstandings in your personal and professional life. Remember, how we see things is not always how they are. A little shift in perspective can go a long way. If today's episode resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on how perspective has shaped your experiences. Are there situations where a shift in perspective could make a difference? Let's continue this conversation. Leave a comment or send me a message if you want to share your thoughts. As always, thank you for tuning in to The Dang Good Show. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with anyone who might need a little reminder to see things from a new angle. And remember, stay mindful, stay curious, and most importantly, stay dang good. Much love, C-Dang, signing out. Thank you for joining us on The Dang Good Show. Remember to swing by our website, thedangoodshow.com, where you can easily subscribe on platforms like Apple, Google, and Spotify to keep up with our latest episodes. Loved what you heard today? A thumbs up and a positive review on your favorite listening platform would be incredibly appreciated. And if our show struck a chord with you, sharing it with just one friend can help our community grow and thrive. Thanks once more for lending your ears to me on The Dang Good Show. Until we meet again, take care and goodbye.